Management for Abundance Practices, predator control. We broke new ground on the state's new prison. And we made common sense conservative choices to eliminate personal luxuries, things like the jet and the chef and the junkets and the entourage. And the lieutenant governor and I, we said no to our pay raises. Really, there is so much success in this first term, and this success, I am proud to take credit for hiring the right people. Our goal was to achieve a gas line project and more fair oil and gas valuation and ethics reform in 4 years. We did it in 2, and it's because of the people, the good people, good public servants surrounding the governor's office with servants' hearts and astounding work ethic. They are Alaska's success. And we are doing well. And I really wish that you would hear more from the media, more from the media of your state's good progress and how we tackle outside interests, special interests daily we're tackling, those interests that would stymie our state. Even those debt-ridden stimulus dollars that would force the heavy hand of federal government into our communities with an all-knowing attitude. I've taken the slings and arrows with that unpopular move because to veto that, it was the right thing to do, because I know being right is better than being popular, and it wasn't a popular stand to take, but some of those dollars would harm Alaska, and they harm America. I resisted those dollars because of the obscene national debt that we're forcing our children to pay because of today's big government spending. It is immoral, and it doesn't even make economic sense. Another accomplishment, our law department protected states' rights. 2 huge U.S. Supreme Court reversals came down against that liberal Ninth Circuit, deciding in our state's favor just over the last 2 weeks. We're protectors of our Constitution, and Federalists protect states' rights as mandated in the 10th Amendment. You don't hear much about the good stuff in the press anymore, though, do you? Some say things changed for me on August 29th last year, the day that John McCain tapped me to be his running mate, and it was an honor to stand beside a true American hero. I say others changed, and let me speak to that for a minute. Political operatives descended on Alaska last August, digging for dirt. The ethics law that I championed became their weapon of choice. Over the past 9 months, I've been accused of all sorts of frivolous ethics violations, such as holding a fish in a photograph or wearing a jacket with a logo on it and answering reporters' questions. Every one of these, though, all 15 of the ethics complaints have been dismissed. We have won, but it hasn't been cheap. The state has wasted thousands of hours of your time and shelled out some $2 million of your dollars to respond to opposition research. And that's money that's not going to fund teachers or troopers or safer roads. And this political absurdity, the politics of personal destruction, Todd and I, we're looking at more than $500,000 in legal bills just in order to set the record straight. And what about the people who offer up these silly accusations? It doesn't cost them a dime, so they're not going to stop draining the public resources, spending other people's money in this game. They won't stop. It's pretty insane. My staff and I spend most of our day, we're dealing with this stuff instead of progressing our state now. And I know that I promised no more politics as usual, but this isn't what anyone had in mind for Alaska. If I've learned one thing, it's that life is about choices, and one chooses how to react to circumstances. You can choose to engage in things that tear down or that build up, and I choose to work very hard on a path for fruitfulness and for productivity. I choose not to tear down and waste precious time, but to build up this state and our great country and her industrious and generous and patriotic and free people. Life is too short to compromise time and resources. And though it may be tempting and more comfortable to just kind of keep your head down and plod along and appease those who are demanding, hey, just sit down and shut up. But that's a worthless, easy path out. That's the quitter's way out. And I think a problem in our country today is apathy. It would be apathetic to just kind of hunker down and go with the flow. We're fishermen. We know that only dead fish go with the flow. No, productive, fulfilled people determine where to put their efforts, choosing to wisely utilize precious time to build up. And there is such a need to build up and fight for our state and our country, and I choose to fight for it. And I'll work very hard for others who still believe in free enterprise and smaller government and strong national security for our country and support for our troops and energy independence, and for those who will protect freedom and equality and life. I'll work hard for and campaign for those who are proud to be American and who are inspired by our ideals, and they won't deride them. I will support others who seek to serve in or out of office. And I don't care what party they're in or no party at all, inside Alaska or outside of Alaska. But I won't do it from the governor's desk. I've never believed that I nor anyone else needs a title to do this, to make a difference, to help people. So I choose for my state and for my family more freedom to progress all the way around so that Alaska may progress. I will not seek re-election as governor. And so as I thought about this announcement that I wouldn't run for re-election and what that means for Alaska, I thought about, well, how much fun some governors have as lame ducks. They maybe travel around their state, travel to other states, maybe take their overseas international trade missions. So many politicians do that. And then I thought, that's what's wrong. Many just accept that lame duck status and they hit the road, they draw a paycheck, they kind of milk it, and I'm not going to put Alaskans through that. I promised efficiencies and effectiveness. That's not how I'm wired. I'm not wired to operate under the same old politics as usual. I promised that 4 years ago, and I meant it. That's not what is best for Alaska at this time. I'm determined to take the right path for Alaska, even though it is unconventional and it's not so comfortable. With this announcement that I'm not seeking re-election, I've determined it's best to transfer the authority